Let's be honest. Most men go through life thinking they need to chase, impress, or win a woman over. They think it's about gifts, attention, or being the perfect guy. But here's a truth no one tells you. If she opens up to you in a certain way, if she shares something deeper than the casual chatter, you've already crossed a line that most men never even reach. I'm not talking about compliments or small talk. I'm talking about her revealing pieces of herself that are usually locked away, guarded, and reserved only for the rare few who truly earn the right to see them. Think about it. Women communicate constantly, but they don't always say what they mean. Words can be a smokescreen, a test, or a reflection of how she feels safe. When a woman starts sharing her vulnerabilities, her fears, her frustrations, the things she's too embarrassed or scared to admit, you are no longer just another guy in her life. You've become someone she trusts, someone she sees as different. And trust me, that trust doesn't come lightly. Here's what most men miss. It's not about being the most confident or the richest. It's about being perceptive, emotionally intelligent, and consistent. Women subconsciously measure safety. They measure your ability to handle their truth without judgment. And the moment she dares to let her guard down, even slightly, it's a signal that in her mind, you've already won. But winning isn't about control, it's about resonance. The resonance you create through your presence, your listening, and your ability to meet her unspoken emotions without fear or ego. She may test you, she may push boundaries, but if she's sharing with you what she won't share with her closest friends, what she's never spoken aloud even to herself, that's the ultimate indicator. That's the threshold most men don't even see, and yet you're standing on it. You need to understand that this isn't accidental. She doesn't randomly choose to reveal herself to just anyone. Her subconscious is making a calculation. Can this man handle me? Can he see me clearly without trying to fix me, without trying to change me, without trying to control me? And the answer she reaches silently in her mind is what decides if she'll keep opening up or shut down forever. So if you find yourself in that rare space where she's sharing the intimate, quiet, messy corners of her world, stop thinking about chasing her approval. Stop worrying about impressing her. This is your moment. Not to flaunt, not to boast, not to show off, but to silently acknowledge that you're now part of a very small, very privileged group of men who've earned the right to see her truth. That's where power lies. Not in words, not in gestures, not in superficial displays, but in quiet, earned presence. And here's the kicker. If you truly understand this, you'll never chase the wrong signals again. You'll start recognizing which moments matter and which moments are just distractions. And every time she leans into you, shares something delicate and lets her walls slip, that's your silent victory. Because winning her heart isn't about manipulation, it's about understanding. The real key to understanding a woman isn't about what she says, it's about what she doesn't say. The pauses, the hesitations, the subtle shifts in her tone or expression, these are the signals most men miss. And here's the truth. The moment she decides to reveal something personal, something unguarded, it's never random. She's measuring you, silently, constantly, and deciding if you're worthy of the fragments of herself she usually hides from the world. Most men think they need to impress her with humor, status, or boldness. But women aren't impressed. They're measured. They're watching how you react when they're vulnerable, how you respond when they share a fear or a secret. If you panic, joke it off, or push it away, she retreats. But if you simply absorb it, if you show calm, understanding, and a quiet strength, something shifts inside her. She begins to trust. She begins to let the walls fall, piece by piece. Here's what's fascinating. This isn't a conscious decision for her. Women don't announce, I'm going to let this man in. Instead, their subconscious is scanning for safety, empathy, and emotional stability. And when she finds it, the walls crumble. She might still test you, push boundaries, or create tension, but it's a test, not rejection. And if you respond correctly, not only does she continue to open up, she starts to seek your presence, your opinion, your energy, almost instinctively. Think about it like this. She's been conditioned her whole life to protect her inner world, Only a tiny fraction of men ever get access to it. And you? If she's confiding in you, she's silently declaring you belong to that fraction. She's saying, without words, that you've passed a test most men don't even know exists. And here's the dangerous beauty of it. Once she starts sharing her inner truth, her emotions, her private thoughts, you begin to occupy a space in her mind that's no longer casual. She begins to anticipate your reactions, your presence, and even your approval, not in a superficial way, but because your energy has earned a place in her emotional architecture. And this is where most men fail. They either overplay it, push too hard, or misunderstand the signals. They confuse attention with attraction, validation with connection. But the men who understand the psychology behind this, who recognize that vulnerability is a sign of trust, not weakness, hold the real power. They don't manipulate, they don't chase. They simply exist in her presence with a stability that commands respect and curiosity simultaneously. Here's the ultimate truth. Once she shares something meaningful with you, she's invested, not just emotionally, but psychologically. She's opening a door that's locked for most men. And if you honor that trust, even silently, you solidify a bond that can't be easily broken. That's how ordinary men transform into rare, unforgettable presences in a woman's life. That's how winning her becomes effortless, because it's no longer about trying, it's about being. There's a subtle, almost invisible line between a man she tolerates and a man she truly trusts. It's not in your jokes, your looks, or the way you compliment her. It's in your ability to navigate the silent spaces, those moments when she's hesitant, unsure, or even testing you. When a woman starts sharing her inner world, she's doing something far more significant than talking. She's giving you permission to exist in her private universe. And that universe is sacred. Most men misunderstand these moments. They panic, they overanalyze, they feel pressure to respond perfectly. But here's the truth. She doesn't need perfection. She doesn't need grand gestures. What she needs is presence. She wants to see that your mind and your heart can handle the real, unfiltered parts of her without judgment, without flinching, without trying to change her. That's what creates safety. And safety is the strongest magnet a woman can feel. Think about it. When she's sharing a fear she's never spoken aloud or a secret she's buried for years, your reaction sets the tone for everything that follows. A dismissive remark, a sarcastic laugh, or a hint of impatience can shut her down instantly. But a quiet acknowledgement, a simple, understanding nod, or even a shared silence communicates volumes. It says, without words, I see you, I accept you, you don't need to hide. That is the foundation of attraction that no pickup line, fancy dinner, or flashy display of wealth can create. Here's the psychology behind it. Women subconsciously assess whether a man can integrate her complexity without losing himself. They're scanning for emotional stability, empathy, and subtle leadership, the kind that doesn't dominate but quietly guides. And when they find it, when they feel that calm confidence, they open even more. Their words become richer, their vulnerabilities deeper, and their subconscious mind begins associating you with security, intimacy, and trust. That's when you move from being another acquaintance to someone unforgettable. Notice the pattern here. It's not about control, it's about resonance. It's about creating an energy she can rely on, even when the conversation is raw, uncomfortable, or messy. It's about being the calm in her storm, the mirror for her honesty, and the silent witness to her truth. That is why certain men, without even trying, become the ones women think about, talk about, and sometimes even dream about. And here's the subtle shift that changes everything. When you stop chasing, stop performing, and start existing with integrity in these vulnerable moments, you stop being just another option. You become the man who holds a place in her mind and heart that no one else can occupy. That's the moment you've already won. Not through tactics, not through tricks, not through manipulation, but through understanding, patience, and an unwavering presence. The men who get this rarely feel the need to boast. They don't need validation. They simply embody the rare ability to be trusted with what others can't see. And the moment she senses that, she starts giving pieces of herself freely, pieces she once protected fiercely, and each piece she gives makes her connection with you stronger, more magnetic, and undeniably permanent. Women test men all the time. It's not because they're cruel or manipulative. It's because they're wired to protect what's precious, their emotions, their vulnerability, their trust. Every hesitation, every challenge, every soft push you encounter isn't a rejection. It's a signal. A signal that she's weighing your presence, your energy, your ability to hold space for her without flinching. And if you respond correctly, you don't just pass the test. You become the man she instinctively wants to be around. The tricky part is that most men interpret these tests as conflict or drama. They think they need to fix it, explain themselves, or prove their worth. But here's the truth. Women don't need solutions. They need stability. They need a presence that reassures without words. When she shares a small insecurity or a fleeting doubt, your reaction either pulls her closer or pushes her away. If you overreact, she closes. If you remain calm, empathetic, and confident, she leans in. That's the quiet power most men never master. Now notice something crucial. The most powerful moments of connection aren't grand gestures. They're subtle. A woman might casually mention something she's proud of or something she fears, and how you respond in that moment determines her perception of you for days, even weeks. It's not what you say. It's your energy, your patience, your ability to reflect her truth without judgment. That reflection is magnetic, it's rare, and it's irresistible. Women also watch consistency like hawks. If you're hot and cold, intense and distant, charming and insecure, she notices, and she'll protect herself. But if you maintain a steady presence, she begins to associate you with safety. That safety becomes intimacy. And intimacy, that's when her walls crumble, and she shares pieces of herself that were once untouchable. Once she reaches that point, she's no longer just interested, she's invested. Here's the silent secret. Every woman wants to know, subconsciously, whether a man can hold her truth without judgment. If she tests you and you respond with calm assurance, empathy, and quiet strength, she starts giving you more than attention. She gives you her trust, her curiosity, and eventually her emotional dependence. And all of this happens without you asking, pleading, or performing. She's drawn to you naturally because you've demonstrated something most men cannot, a stability that aligns with her vulnerability. The final point you need to understand: attraction isn't built in flashy moments or dramatic displays. It's built in the quiet, invisible ones. The moments she shares a fear she's never spoken aloud, the moments she confides in you, the moments she observes your reaction to her inner world. Master those moments, and you don't just attract her. You occupy a space in her mind and heart that no other man can reach. And here's the harsh reality most men ignore. The moment she starts testing you in these ways, you've already been chosen. Not consciously, but subconsciously. She's deciding if you belong in her inner world. She's deciding if you can hold the pieces she usually protects fiercely. And if you honor that trust, respond with calm presence, and remain steady in the face of her tests, you've already won. The moment she truly opens up, it's a quiet declaration, not a loud announcement. She doesn't need to say, "I trust you," or "You're special." Her signals are subtle: an offhand confession, a fleeting look of vulnerability, a story she's never told anyone else. And if you recognize these signals, you understand something most men never will. She's already invested in you on a level deeper than attraction. She's testing the boundaries of intimacy, and every response you give either strengthens her trust or shrinks her openness. Most men overlook these cues because they're distracted by the obvious: her appearance, her compliments, or her flirtation. But the real indicators are in what she holds back until she decides you're safe enough to receive it. When she shares a fear she's never voiced, a memory she's ashamed of, or an insecurity she guards jealously, it's not casual conversation. It's permission. Permission for you to witness her inner world without judgment, without ego, without trying to change her. And if you honor that, something profound happens. She begins associating you with safety, intimacy, and emotional clarity, three qualities that dominate attraction in ways status or charm never could. Here's the critical point most men miss. Vulnerability is a magnet, not the vulnerability of needing validation, but the vulnerability of being seen for who she truly is. And if she allows you into that space, you become one of the rare few who aren't just observers. You are participants in her private, emotional reality. She starts imagining you in her world, not because she's dependent, but because she recognizes you as steady, present, and capable of holding her truth without faltering. The beauty of this is subtle but undeniable. A woman will unconsciously test this again and again through jokes, small confessions, or moments of tension. And each time, your calm, empathetic, and patient response reinforces her choice. She begins to see you as someone who is unshakable, someone she can rely on, not for validation, not for excitement, but for quiet stability. That's how trust morphs into attraction. That's how admiration transforms into emotional attachment. Notice this. Men often chase validation from women, but the men who win her real attention, her trust, her heart, the men she shares pieces of herself with, don't chase. They observe, they understand, and they respond with presence, not performance. Every shared secret, every whispered doubt, every fleeting confession becomes a thread connecting you to her on a level most men never experience. And here's the ultimate truth. When she finally shares her private, guarded emotions, she's silently telling you that you've already earned a place in her life that most men never will. That moment is your quiet victory. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, it's subtle, yet profound. And the more you respect it, absorb it, and respond with grounded presence, the stronger the bond becomes. Because attraction isn't about excitement, it's about trust, emotional resonance, and the ability to occupy a space in her inner world that no one else can. Winning her heart isn't about grand gestures, flashy words, or chasing her attention. It's about the quiet, invisible moments, the ones she rarely tells anyone about, the ones she guards fiercely, the ones that reveal the real her. If she shares those moments with you, if she lets you see her fears, her dreams, her unpolished human self, you've already crossed a line that most men never even approach. And that line is where true connection lives. The men who understand this stop trying to impress. They stop overthinking. They stop performing for validation. They simply exist with integrity, emotional clarity, and quiet strength. And women sense this immediately. They feel it in their bones, in the way their chest relaxes around you, in the way their words flow more freely, in the way their eyes linger just a little longer. That's how she knows you're different, how she knows she can trust you, how she knows you're not just passing through her life. Here's the subtle genius of it. Attraction is a reflection of security. Not financial security, not social status, but emotional security. When you can hold her truth without judgment, when you can witness her vulnerabilities without flinching, when you can exist in her messy, beautiful reality without trying to fix it, you become magnetic. She doesn't even have to think about it. Her mind and heart have already made the calculation. You've won, quietly, without realizing it. But there's one last truth most men ignore. Being the man she confides in is not a trophy to show off. It's a responsibility, a privilege, a sacred space she allows you to occupy. And how you respond here defines your future with her. If you honor that trust, if you stay present, if you continue to embody calm, empathy, and quiet confidence, she will continue to open up. She will continue to share the parts of herself she's hidden from the world. And each revelation she grants you strengthens her attachment, her admiration, and her desire for your presence. So, here's the challenge, and it's personal. Think about her last deep confession, the moment she let her guard slip even slightly. Did you truly honor it? Did you respond with calm presence, or did you miss the signal? Take a moment to reflect, because every response either deepens your connection or lets it fade. And here's a simple equation to consider. Her vulnerability plus your presence equals the magnetic bond most men never create. Comment below with your answer to this equation. How are you embodying presence when she's vulnerable? Be honest with yourself. Like this video if it shifted your perspective. Subscribe and share it with a friend who needs to hear this, because understanding female psychology is the difference between being forgotten and being unforgettable.